Join me, won't you, one and all, to a lesson in strumming. And if you want a strumming lesson that's not on YouTube, bam, that is Strum 101 Fundamentals. Now, one of the most popular moves of all time would be to take another note out of this chord and maybe just, or, so what we would do is we'd hit an open A, maybe a hammer on, which is just striking an open note and then hammering on with your finger to the next note. So you just, hammer-ons are interesting. It's not and then go slow. The hammer-on needs to be a fast attack. Now that doesn't mean you have to press really hard. You're going to fret it just the same as you normally would with the same pressure. You just need to hit it quick because the skin of your finger will mute out the note if you don't do it quick enough. Right? See the difference? Okay, so now I use that riff as a transition to the next chord. So I went open and then went open D string, which is the root note of the next chord. So it kind of is like a transitional riff where it leads into the next chord. Now that doesn't have to be the only way we can use that. We can use that to spice up, the 4 times that we're playing the G. Maybe go back. Okay, so it's now just for the sake of being simple, right? I'm doing downstrokes when I do that. So it's down, hammer, down on the open string again. Then I would go to the next open note and then chord. So, or if I'm just transitioning back to that G, I do the same thing where I hit the root note first. It's just very typical of folk and country and whether it's like Neil Young style classic rock or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, all the way to like freaking Neil Diamond, right? You'll hear that done at nauseum, but it's done at nauseum because it's effective and cool. Now, that's one way to do it, right? We're doing everything on one string. Now you could do that same thing and go down to the string below. So we'd hammer on and then hit the string below and then into our D chords. So. It sounds really great, especially coming from the D back into the G. Right, it really sets up that G chord nice. Now, you can do the same thing with the C add 9. Okay, I hit the 3rd fret, but that sounds cool too, right? Right, that's another option. So these are all, so we don't have to go. We can go. Right, so that would be a hammer on from a fretted note, which would be the 2nd fret to the 3rd fret. And then I would hit that open D. I'm just kidding. kidding, and threw it in there just because. All right, now, one of the things that we could also do, if we want to break that up, because if you do the same kind of tricks over and over again, it could be a little bit monotonous, right? So we have the C and the D. So what we could do is maybe borrow, when we're doing this C chord, one of the notes from the D chord. So I would take my first finger off, which would normally be right here in the C add 9, and I'm going to take my pinky off, and I'm going to put my first finger down where, if I was playing a D chord, my second finger would be. So that'd be the second fret of the E string. Really cool sound. So that's another thing that's cool, is you start to introduce a melody line within the chord as you're strumming. Now, I did the same thing on the D chord. Right, walking back. So I just take my first finger off, right, because that G note is really prevalent in what we've been doing. You know, it's in every chord that we've done thus far, so we can keep the theme rolling by playing an open G string. Right, so if you just take those couple of ideas, mix and match them, right? Make sure we're not doing the same thing every time. So sometimes we could do, right where we stay on the A string. Sometimes we could do that hammer, pick the D. Sometimes we can do that second to third kind of thing. We can do, change up the melody line on the top of the chord. We can hammer on our D. Right, one of the most popular things you'll ever hear is that D sus4, which if you're here, right, you could come straight into it with your fingers already down from this C add 9 chord, right? And then what you do is you take off your pinky, that gives you a normal D chord, and then it's a D sus2 when you take off the E string second fret. Right, so we got. That's also a trick. At the end of the song, instead of busting through the chord, you just, real slow, like you're really having them hang on every strum, and then you just go through it real slow. Or Yes! Don't forget the link down below. I promise it'll help you.